Ronnie was training with Chad Nichols, right? And he reached out to me because we had been friendly years prior, like 2002, and he reached out to me and said, hey man, you okay? And I said, yeah, you know, it's whatever. And he was training Phil Heath, you know, Phil Heath hadn't been at the Olympia, it was his first one, 08. And he said, you know, listen man, you know, I know you can get it back, whatever, just if you need anything, you know, I'm here, whatever, if you want ask me any questions, you know, I have maybe some good ideas for you. I said, okay. So that was like right after the show, that was September. By December I thought about it, I'm like, man, you know, I don't want to walk away or whatever, because I actually considered retiring. And next thing you know, I just said, you know what, I'd like you to keep an eye on me, but I'm going to do what I do. He said, okay, no problem, you know. So we kind of started going back and forth, and that's when we filmed FST7. We got Phil and I and him together in January of 2009. We filmed the training, the FST7. I started doing some of his training principles, and I liked the progress, so I stayed with it a little bit, and then we developed a relationship, and he's like, I'll help you for the show. And we worked together, and I think, you know, with him, you know, I think he stayed on me more than Chris, meaning he was like, you know, you don't look good, or you look good, you need to do this, you need to do that, you know, you need to fill up. I had one leg that had a discrepancy compared to the other one, so I had the therapy to fix it. But with him, it was more like eating the steak, which I hadn't been doing, adding fats like avocado, almond butter. I was still eating like 7 meals a day, what I had been doing in the past, but, you know, I was eating a lot of carbs, but eating a little more protein. It worked a little better for me. Came in, you know, probably my best, and he was better like with the anti-estrogens at the end, which really gave me a lot more dryness, which was always my problem. So I always tend to hold a little more water. And then before, I'll be truthful, I never used an anti-estrogen before, so I think it really helped where it kept the water retention down, and I was able to come in the show big and hard and dry. You know, even though I was 255, I was a lighter body weight than I'd been at Olympias. When I won in 06, I was 273 when I beat Coleman. So I had come down a lot since then to be at my best at 255. And that's, you know, kind of where it kind of took place. I worked with him in 9 and 10, and then 11 also. But, you know, Heath was on the rise then too. And, you know, when I tore my bicep, you know, obviously Phil Heath won, and then, you know, I went back to Chris Aceto for my last show in 13, just because I wanted to finish off where I started. It was kind of like, you know, he was already had Phil Heath. I knew he was favoring Phil Heath. I was like, you know, I'm not going to interfere with that and cause more friction of like having to work with a. I knew it was going to be big hype me coming back, and I didn't want to take that from Phil, because Phil was still living honestly in the shadow of Jay Cutler for a lot of years, because, you know, he was trying to be as popular, as respected as I was as Mr. Olympia, and you know, I think it took him a few years to get that point. You know, and Phil still isn't. I think the movie didn't really help him. I know a lot of people don't really know Phil like that, but I feel like he suffered a little bit because now he doesn't travel either. So people don't get to see him. I don't know the answers to why he doesn't, but you know, if I was him, I'd be out there networking a lot more than what he does. You know, but obviously he's working. He's coming to the shows and winning. You know, so yes, sir.
You said you was one of the first that met Phil Heath. You didn't train with him or coach with him, but you got in the finance. Mm-hmm. But looking at now or future, is that something you would fancy doing, coaching somebody to be a Mr. Olympia?
You know what, if I found the right guy, it's really the mentality I look for. I mean, the body has to be there too, but I haven't seen, like, sometimes they jump out at you, you know? But I haven't seen, like, any of the younger guys coming up that I run into that I'm like, wow, that guy is like the next. Because listen, I hate to say it, but like even over here, the guys are at a disadvantage because they're here. You know, it's like you kind of got to be in the States and you got to be able to get in the system a little bit. I think it always hurt the foreign guys to come over and compete because they always looked at the US-based people, right? I mean, Dorian Yates is an example, like how he came, did his business, and left. But he didn't, it was really hard for him to get posed. I mean, Big Rami's the same thing. He's in Kuwait. A lot of the people want to see him, but they can't afford to bring him. A lot of these promoters, because it just costs so much money to fly him over. But I'm not in front of as many guys. I see so much talent out there, but to be honest, like, it's a different game now. Like, I can't call up the leader office and say, hey, give this guy some money. Money is very tight now with the sponsorships. And I think the other divisions did hurt that, because now they're paying money to the other divisions, because people are confused, like, hey, do we want to go a little more mainstream look, or do we want to, stay with the hardcore bodybuilding side? But listen, bodybuilding is still going to be king no matter what. It's still going to rule the Mr. Olympia. But I still advise a lot of the guys. They all come to me for the business sense. I mean, I'm on the phone with all these guys all the time about, okay, for these appearances, for the contracts. But I always tell everyone, have a secondary venture, meaning not just put all your eggs into the bodybuilding competing aspect. You could have something else to fall back on too, because listen, one injury, you're done, right? Same thing. It's like any professional sport. You can't put it all out there, especially with the training now, because I think the guys are training heavier and heavier, which I don't think is necessary. I think you still have to train heavy, but not ballistically, That's not always the answer. I think people do train too heavy. Okay. So, who else has got questions? Yes, sir.
The feeling that you had when you won Mr. Olympia the first time compared to winning it the fourth, how did you feel?
The fourth was better. It's hard to really, it's really hard for me to say that, because winning it the first time is always like sweet, right? But I was really not expected to win the fourth at all. The third at 09. That time, like, I trained, like, I developed a crazy team. I was flying people in and out. I had like a real training camp where I had like different training partners, and I would beat the shit out of everyone. And I knew I was going to win it back. My confidence was all-time high. Even though in 06 I knew I was going to win too. But I really dug deep to win that one back and kind of solidified myself. I think that was the most decisive victory I had that time. But it was super exciting for me. A lot of good things happened around that. And it's like my whole image was kind of recreated then. It's good when I actually think about it. I don't think about it as much these days because I'm busy like living real life. But it was kind of like I look back at some of these things. I'm like, man, I remember that, when I was traveling every week and being booked up like I was. But it's like crazy now. I was just telling these guys in the back, man, I'm booked up every single week at events. So, like, I do this tour, I'm booked every day here until Sunday next week, and then I go home and I have the Olympia, and I'm working on a new product line now, like a supplement brand, so I'm kind of busy with that. I have to fly to manufacturing like in the middle of Olympia week, which is kind of a pain in the ass, and then I go to the show, and then I leave, I go to Ireland and Germany, I'm in Italy, and then I'm in Prague like the rest of September, and then I'm booked every week after that. So it's pretty cool to be able to still be living the dream, being 5 years retired. The business has grown that much, so there's way more opportunity. But I think the guys have to chase it a little bit. The guys aren't chasing what they probably should,
It's all diluted a little bit, isn't it? It's like you said, like in America, it's happening over here now. The commercial gyms are taking over. The die-hard gyms like this out there, and people haven't got the will to work for it. I mean, they're on fuel and stuff. But
I mean, listen, when I would go to the gym, and I'm a victim of this too, guys. I carry my cell phone. If I didn't shoot the content, like, I don't know if I would have the following that I do, but I have a guy that kind of shoots stuff a lot of times. But when I would train, I remember training for those Olympias, like, I'd be on the phone, like, hey, I'm gonna be off the phone for 2 hours, I'm going to the gym and training, the phone would stay in the car. And I had that vision, Today now, it's like people train for Instagram. I hate to say it, but they're like doing their sets, and they're like, or they're on their phone. Like, I walk in the gym and guys are like, yeah, and they're like pumping up, and the phone's on their ear. Or I hear people talking and they're like on their phones, like having a full-fledged conversation, and they're like, I said, how many sets you got left? I got 5 sets, and I'm like, really, dude? Like, I need to work on this. I feel like ringing these people in the neck sometimes, Yeah, I know. Well, I know, but this is like, these are pansy gyms that I train at. Like, you know what I mean? You can't spit on the floor. You know, my choice is to train at gyms where you spit on the floor and like, you can bleed. You know what I'm saying? If there's not blood on the mirrors from the front of the squat rack, then it's not a real gym. Right, Mick? So, I mean, where I trained, when I started, I mentioned that gym. The squat rack, you know, it's covered with spit on the mirror. You know, that's because people are screaming in the gym. But it's just, Vegas is the same, man. We have this little Lift Factory gym. It's a very small, and it's got like the murals people probably see on social media. That's like a hardcore gym, but the rest are just pretty much, you know, just commercial gyms and normal people just working out. I mean, listen, normal people, but like people don't even like, that's a gym where I say, hey, how many sets you got? And it's not like, hey, you can work in. There's no gym etiquette at all. Someone like me even, you know, it's like they don't respect anything. So it has changed, it's commercialized a lot, which is kind of sad, you know. So Vegas isn't necessarily the mecca what it was when I started out there. I moved to Vegas. Remember, my dream was to move to California and be that cop on a motorcycle. I moved to California and became a bodybuilder. Joe Weider moved me out there, just like he did with Arnold. He paid me more money to be there because he wanted me for the cover of Muscle and Fitness and Flex. So I'd be closer to the photo shoot. So when I moved out there in 1999, I moved to Orange County, so I was like 45 minutes from Gold's Gym, Venice, and I would go up to Venice and train, but it was just, there was a lot of riffraff there, and they let the fans walk through that gym, so it's very hard to get a workout in. Even now, it takes me 20 minutes to get through the front door, because as soon as I walk in, it's like, oh my God, Jay Cutler's here, you know, like Arnold still trains there, I see a lot of people still. But, so I lived 45 minutes away, so I trained down there. Paul Dillette, if anyone remembers, he was my neighbor. So I lived next door to him, and he would drive to Venice every day. It was, you know, he would drive up, and then he'd be stuck in Venice with the traffic coming back. LA traffic's just crazy. So I'm like, I never understood why he would drive all the way up there and live all the way in Orange County. He said, oh, I just like it, it's cleaner down here, whatever. And